Hey everyone, welcome to Sippin' Tea with Show. I am Shanada, and this is my very first YouTube video. Yay! So, before I get started to tell you about the concept of this video and what I'm going to do with this video, let me take a sip. Okay, so with this channel, I want to give you all things nursing. I want to discuss some of the challenges I faced making the decision to go back to school, being in school. What was it like finding my first job as a nurse? Some of the challenges I face today as a nurse. I also want to talk about what it's like being a single parent. I want to talk about relationships, friendships, family. I just want to spill all of my tea with you. So, I just want to give you a brief introduction. As I stated before, I am a registered nurse. I did start off as an LPN, and then I bridged over and completed my RN degree. And this year, actually, a week ago, I got my bachelor's degree. So, yay me. Um, I decided to create this channel because I work in a hospital and I work nights. And while at the nurses station, sometimes just, having different, conversations with staff and patient care techs, we just talk about the different challenges we faced with nursing school or which school we went to and, things of that nature. So while talking to a lot of the patient care techs who are either looking to go to school for nursing or they have already been accepted into a program, with some of the things that I've shared with them, some of the feedback I would get is like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have talked to you before I started nursing school. So I figured, I'm pretty sure they're not the only one who feel this way. So I just wanted to make this channel and make this information available to everyone. So going back to the very beginning, I just want to tell you about my journey. I started out as a medical assistant because I knew I wanted to do nursing, but I did not know if I was ready to make that leap. So I decided to go to a business college, which is going to be my first piece of advice. I would highly, highly recommend to stay away from the business colleges if you can. It is just a huge amount of debt that you would get yourself into, and it's not worth it. If there's a community college that offers a program that you're looking into, go with that. So I started out as I went to the business college for medical assisting. I did that for probably 5 years. And while I was working as a medical assistant, I was always like, trying to go back to school, but life happened. I had my children at an early age. I was a single parent and it was hard juggling going back to school and spending time with them. So I was already working Monday through Friday at a doctor's office. And when I would feel like I was spending too much time away from them, I would take a semester off and that semester would turn into a year. And it's like I would start and stop, start and stop. And then also just with life happening and different personal things that I was going through, it was harder to continue with my education. There was a nurse practitioner that I was working with that suggested to me that I should start, she said, don't even go for LPN. And at the time, I really wasn't even thinking about LPN. She said, just go straight for your bachelor's degree because I was trying to go to the community college. So I looked into this weekend option program and it worked great for my schedule, but still with my children being younger, with me doing things by myself, it just made it a little bit more challenging to finish the program. What I was able to do was I moved back home with my family. I paid to go to school as a medical assistant because not a medical assistant, a CNA. When I moved back home with my family, I was still a medical assistant and I was working for this university and they would have paid for me to get my education, but working as a medical assistant, there isn't a lot of flexibility for you to go back to school for nursing because typically the nursing programs, it is a either Monday through Friday program or it's every other weekend, but typically the clinicals are during the week in the morning, and my job required me to be there in the morning. So um, I decided to work as a CNA. So I paid for some CNA courses because it allowed more flexibility. Like I worked night shift to work as a CNA. And when I found out about an LPN program, let me rewind. During this time when I did the CNA program, like my children were getting older and it was becoming impossible to keep them into the same bedroom. They both required their own space, and I just could not do that with a medical assistant salary or either a CNA salary. So I made the decision to go back to school for an LPN. I found a program that was just 11 months. It was like Monday through Friday. And I must say, I thank God for my mother that she allowed my children and I to move back home so I can complete school. And what I did was we moved back into my old bedroom. It was the three of us, and I wanted us to be as uncomfortable as possible because I knew that this was only going to be a temporary move. So I completed the LPN program in about 11 months. I worked as a LPN for about a year before I got accepted into the RN program, and I bridged over that way.
So,
So
what I
some of
meant
the
to
things
say
that I
on this
get
part
to
here
is, do
was
you
some
have
of the
to be a
questions that I
CNA
get
before you
asked
become an
are.
RN? Some schools require it, some don't, but I would highly recommend that you get that experience as a CNA, because what they don't tell you in school, sometimes you are working as a primary nurse. That means you are doing your nursing duties, you are doing the CNA work, and sometimes you're doing secretary work. So it is good for you to have that foundation. Um, so it will help you in your career. And then also, being that the nurses are typically a supervisor to the CNAs, it's nice to know exactly what that job entails, because how can you supervise or how can you delegate to um, a staff member when you don't necessarily know what their role is? So, yes, I would recommend that. Another question that I get is the whole associate's degree versus bachelor's degree. And I just want to say this from the jump. There is nothing against an associate's degree nurse versus a bachelor's degree nurse. Before you make that decision to do so, what I would ask you is, what are your goals? What are your short term goals and what are your long term goals? If your goal is just to be a nurse, you don't have any plans on furthering your education, you don't want to get into management, you are just looking to be a bedside nurse, then I would highly recommend going to a community college. If you can get that done where you can either pay out of pocket or you get financial aid, I would highly recommend that. If you know that your long term goal is you either want to be in management, you want to become a nurse practitioner, um, or you want to be in education, like if you know that you want to go back and you want to teach either classes or clinicals or something like that, then I would recommend a bachelor's degree program. I don't understand where the back and forth comes from with, an associate's degree nurse versus a bachelor's degree nurse. Like, we're all nurses. We took the same NCLEX. One just has more education. And then honestly, I'm going to be completely honest with you. With me going back to get my bachelor's degree, the only reason why I did so is because my job offered it. I was not going to put myself into more debt to get a bachelor's degree when I was not going to be compensated well for that. At my hospital, it is just a 50 cents differential between an associate's degree nurse versus a bachelor's degree nurse. And I'm so glad that when I was in school, or when I was looking to get in school with nursing, I surrounded myself with people who had went down this path before me, because my friend well, she's still my friend, she gave me some really good advice. She told me that if she can go back and do things over again, she would have went and got her associate's degree, because she was paying $80,000 for her tuition for her bachelor's degree. And at the time she was only making 30 cents more an hour than the nurses with the associate's degree or the diploma. So yeah, it all depends on your personal preference. One is not better than the other. Again, as I stated before, we all take the same NCLEX. We all do the same job. And also, with me just completing my bachelor's degree, I do not feel like those classes made me a better nurse. I really don't. So figure out your short-term goals, figure out your long-term goals, and make your decision based off of that. I would highly, highly, highly recommend a community college for your nursing program if you can, because the goal is to do this with the least amount of debt. I am all about not having on a lot of debt. Then secondly, I would also steer away from schools who do not have a nursing program, but they'll tell you, oh, well, you can take these classes here and these classes will transfer, and just don't even waste your time. Do not waste your time with that. Just find a nursing program that works for you and go that route. I'm trying to see what else did I want to talk about. Oh, this is another thing, and I don't know if I should do a separate channel. I mean, not a separate channel, a separate video about this, because I can really go into a lot of detail about this. The pay. I know when I was in school, that's all I wanted to know. I had a family I needed to take care of. I wanted to know, how much can I expect to make coming out of this nursing program? And for some reason, nurses don't want to talk about that. You don't have to tell me where you are today as far as your pay, but at least give me like some type of ballpark about like what you started out with, so I would know. But that is so taboo. So I think that's all I have right now. I wanted to make this first video short and sweet, just to give you guys an introduction about me and what I'm going to be bringing to the table. If you have any questions or if you have any comments, please feel free to leave them. And yeah, you're going to be seeing more of me. I'm going to spill all of my tea, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I just believe that your tests end up turning into testimonies. And my testimony, like, you would not believe. Like, when I was in nursing school, the struggle was very, very real. Like, so real. Like, there are times when I look at myself and look how far I've come, and I am just like, wow, I cannot believe that I am here. But yeah, I just didn't want to make a long video for you all. I just wanted to give you a little bit about what I wanted to talk about with this channel. And again, if you have any questions or you have any comments, just, let me know. So hope to see you back on Sipping Tea with Sho. I am Shanada. Enjoy.